Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to a brand new episode of Give Since 92. Give you guys the latest and exclusive content on new music, entertainment news, and inspirational quotes. By me, the Queen is back. Alright, so I decided to do something different, and I've been thinking of different ways and ideas to come up with new topics to talk about on my channel. So I finally decided to do my review on my best top albums in 2020 that came out this year. So I will talk about my favorite albums that came out and the highlights. And I feel like 2020, it has been a pretty good year of music. I think it could have been a lot better, but the artists that really put out really great bodies of work and really stood out. They put out amazing albums, so I just want to give my review roundup of 2020. So here we go. Alright, so Brandy released her 7th studio album, B7. Brandy, she had to really make it on the top of my list because even as a Brandy fan, this album is such a brilliant body of work. She took it back to the basics with her sound, her signature style, and her authenticity and her originality. And with her sound this time around, what I love about Brandy is that she's one of these artists that she stands the test of time. This album brings back the nostalgia sound of her artistry of like that R&B, hip hop, pop, soul, and nostalgia and alternative music. And she really set the bar high for herself. And regardless of what musical climate, she really took things to another level. The vocal arrangements, the direction, the deliverance of all of her records on this 7th studio project. So I feel like Brandy, like I said, she really slayed it, and B7 deserves all the praise, all the support from us, the stars, the fans. And what I really love this album is like, it's pretty much one of these albums that is going to be another classic down in history in Brandy's music career. And it's just so out of pocket in a good way, very innovative, and it just gives back like that Afro-futuristic R&B soul edginess, that grittiness, and that rawness of R&B soul. So Brandy is a perfect example of, she's an artist that really has pushed through in her music career, sustained longevity, made a huge impact in the sound and influence of R&B and soul music. So like I said, she really redefined her music with this studio project, and to be honest, Brandy hands down, she slayed with B7. So with that being said, guys, go check out her album B7. Alright guys, I will talk about Chloe and Halle. Now Chloe and Halle, they released their album Ungodly Hour. This is their sophomore album, by the way. This album is just really a work of art. And Chloe and Halle, they are a duo girl group, and I have been, watching them grow and develop their own style of music and their artistry. And I really love that with this album, they really took things to a different level, very risk-taking, but mature. But the production is just so fresh, so original. They are also producers. And this is what I love about creators, because I'm an artist myself. When you really take the time to make a really good standout body of work, it takes time. Chloe and Halle, they pretty much are students of the game. They're young artists, but they have that old soul, but more of like that new school nostalgia vibe to it. And what I appreciate about them as artists is that they really do gravitate towards more of like the R&B, the pop, the soul sound, the rock and roll sound. This album is cohesive, different layers, different textures of like the instrumentation of the records, and it flows through. And really, like I said, they can actually sing, and they're very versatile. And I really do enjoy the vocal arrangements, because when it comes to artists that actually have the overall talent in the package, Chloe and Halle, they're definitely hands down one of a kind. And they play the instruments too, and very talented, wonderful, gifted young ladies. And I feel like they really brought it home this year, 2020. They put out one of the best albums that I have heard of this year. So it's pretty much Ungodly Hour. It's pretty much like that really new revolution of R&B and pop and soul music, where these young ladies, they're redefining their sound, they're being themselves, they're being authentic, and that's what I really do appreciate from Chloe and Halle. Very gifted, talented, one of a kind. I really enjoy this body of work. So you guys, please check out Ungodly Hour. These ladies, they did a damn thing, period. Alright, so let's get to the talented Teyon Taylor. Now, Teyon Taylor released the album. Teyon Taylor, and like I said, I really have gone through the depths of like even seeing her career flourish. And Teyon Taylor, she's an artist that, she's another one that's very creative and innovative. And the album is pretty much a very, I would say, she really brought her A game with the production. And I really enjoy how, she really stayed true to her craft and her authenticity as an R&B hip-hop artist. And like I said, regardless of what's been going on in her music career, definitely she put out a really beautiful body of work. And there's something about artists, she's very intricate. She has more like that artsy avant-garde, and I can hear it in her musical influences from other artists, but she makes sure that it's still Teyon Taylor. And I think people have overlooked her for years too. I think that for her, she definitely has really brought more of like that excitement in music, where, with this album, it's pretty much her, I would say her time, what I'm saying? It's pretty much her, monumentum. And what I love about this album, it just takes you to just different explorations of life. And I love the, even the different arrangements of like the instrumentation of the production. She gives more like that R&B hip hop vibe, but she also taps into like jazz, pop, funk, R&B, and I really like that with Teyon Taylor's natural ability to be creative and think outside the box. She's one of these artists that she is better off being independent. And I know she's been going through things, personally. She was saying like how people didn't really appreciate like who she is as an artist. And I know, and I definitely see where she's coming from, because the album itself is, ironically, it's titled The Album. It's just pretty much more of Teyon Taylor's incoming age of like freedom, self-awareness, liberation, being a badass, and just taking things by storm and really taking in control of who she is as an artist. So I really enjoy Teyon Taylor's album. I think Teyon Taylor, she deserves more flowers, and I don't want her to stop making music. And like I said, I feel like for her, hopefully she'll get back in the game and continue to make, really dope music. But this album has to be one of my top favorite albums of this year. Alright, so let's get to Dani Lay with her new album, Movie, that was released back in last month, November. Alright, I'm a huge fan of Dani Lay. She's a dope artist. What I love about this album is that Dani Lay is such a fresh talent, especially in the R&B and hip-hop and pop music scene. She's a singer, she's a dancer, definitely she has the full package. And what I love about Movie is like the theme, the songs, the content. She takes it back down memory lane, where artists with that storytelling, and I would say just more of that enigma and that mysterious and that mystery. This album is pretty much a growth for her as an artist. So she really stepped her game up. And what I love about this album, it's pretty much an album full of like that real authenticness of like R&B, soul, hip hop music. And she has also incorporated her Latin music artistry in this album. So she takes, us on a ride of like, her life as a movie, her being able to really, get used to fame, and get used to like dealing with things. And we don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but I like that she definitely took her experiences and put it in as like a movie. So the theme fits well, and I like that she has like the turn up anthems, the party anthems, the like trap, like R&B, soul nostalgia, which really definitely does stick with her sound. But she brings a lot of like that melodic and more like grittiness of like hip hop too. We have like some banger tracks, we have some mid tempo tracks, some sensual tracks. So she, to me, I really have been following her for a long time, and I'm glad that she's able to really find a lane in herself as an artist. So Dani Lay, the Dominican mommy, she really stepped it up, and I think that with this album, I would say it's more of like that new direction in the coming age of R&B, hip hop, and pop music. And I love that nostalgic vibe and sound, and how with her influences too, she reminds me of different artists too, but she's Dani Lay, and I like that. She definitely has a really good ear of music. Movie is such a great body of work. Dani Lay, she really is pretty much one of these artists that she's doing her thing in music right now. So go check out her album Movie. Alright, so we got Alicia Keys, and she released her I think this is her 7th studio album. It's called Alicia. And Alicia, she's an OG in the game. I grew up with her music. I feel like Alicia Keys, she's another artist that came, onto the music scene back in 2001. So ever since then, I grew up with her music as a child, and to see her blossom and grow and really push the barriers of music, she has really solidified her spot as being one of the iconic and legendary, I would say, R&B, soul, and hip-hop artists of her generation. But Alicia Keys, this new album that she put out, the self-titled, I loved it. And even with her sound too, what I always have loved about Alicia Keys, she makes sure that she sets trends. She has always been one of these artists that she just always moves in with the time, but she makes sure that her music stays true to herself and represents who she is as an artist. And I really do love how Alicia Keys is pretty much the self-titled Alicia. It's just more like that. She definitely made sure that this album, it was going to be fresh, just a new sound for her. And it has so many different sounds and production and layers where I can listen to this album from start to finish without skipping any tracks, which is a great thing. Artists that really get into more that creative side, which I feel like on this album she really did experiment it more on this album, because her previous albums, they've been more like R&B, hip hop, pop, and she has dipped and dabbled into like more like that acoustic sound and the pop sound, which she has excelled into. This album right here, she made sure that she brought everything together. She was being able to, really cultivate and craft an album where it was just like the new Alicia Keys, but it's more, I would say, Alicia Keys of 2020. So with that being said, I feel like Alicia Keys, she did the damn thing. She slayed. She did what she needed to do. So of course, this album is one of my favorite albums from her. She did a great job. Now we've got into Miss Dua Lipa. Now Dua Lipa, she is in the category of the new freshness of pop, I would say, of pop artists. Future Nostalgia is one of my favorite pop albums of this year. And I think that Dua Lipa, with this body of work, she really hit out the ballpark, and in a good way. This album is very fun, it's very spontaneous, and I love the retro vibe and sound of the disco era, which is one of my favorite eras. Personally, I love that the pop music that she is doing, she's making pop music that has more like that bubbly spark, and it has like that authentic, but it's more like that revolutionary pop music. Because I listen to different artists from like previous generation of the pop music, but she's bringing that sound back too for herself. I feel like future nostalgia, it does take you on future nostalgia. You don't know what to expect. You don't know where it's going to take you. And I feel like with Dua Lipa, she definitely, did a great job finding the sound that really works well for her artistry. And it's just, she really just slayed, period. And I really like that for this album. She just definitely she just took off. So it's pretty much more like a pop album where it's like, it's for everybody just to have fun. And really it's also a dance album, which I love dance music. So she really did a good job incorporating different styles of pop music, different layers of pop music. The people that she worked with, they really did a great job making sure that they really crafted an album where, especially in the mainstream music world, pop music, I think that it really showcased her growth, her artistry, and her credibility of being like one of the standout pop artists, female singers of her generation. So she did a damn thing with this one. Alright, now let me get into Miss Lady Gaga, Chromatica. Lady Gaga, she's a legend, a veteran in the music scene, and I like that Lady Gaga, she's another one that I grew up with in her music, and to see her grow, show a lot of that vulnerability, and she's a rebel. This album right here, I feel I am in some Chromatica, more of like that badass, more, it just has more of like that. I mean, I'm trying to find different words to describe, but Lady Gaga is one of these artists. She's another one of the avant-garde influence, and with the sound that she brought with with Chromatica, I really love that she stayed true with her art and her music, and it just has more of like that Lady Gaga vibe and sound. She really stepped it up. And I think she really, like I said, I know her previous works, she really had to find, still keep up with the consistency of her music. But this one right here, she really did a damn thing with this one. And I think she really, really took things to a new level with this album. It's pop, it's rock, it's edge, it's soul. I hear a little bit of R&B. So it has a whole bunch of things where it's like with her, she'll always come through and always make a good album. So Lady Gaga, she slayed with this one. The Weeknd. Now, The Weeknd had released his album After Hours. Now I have to be honest, The Weeknd has to be one of my favorite male artists of this generation. And I have to be honest, before I wasn't a huge fan of The Weeknd, but I've always loved his music. His music was always different. It always had more like that spark, that excitement and thrill. So that makes up for it. And plus, he always, with his sound, it's more like that electronica sound music and pop and soul, R&B and alternative. After Hours is pretty much one of the best albums that he released this year, because I feel like even listening to After Hours, I do feel like I'm in some, I would say some horror film. And guys, I do not like scary movies like that, but I just love how The Weeknd was able to take the direction of his music and really make sure that he really took time with this album, and I really like that his sound is more, I would say, is more, I know I always say revolutionary, but whatever, screw it, I don't care. It's pretty much one of these albums that when you listen to After Hours, he brings so much energy and so much of that. It's like he's one of these artists that, as the male artist, especially in the R&B and pop music scene, he's one of these artists that stands out to me. And that's why I've always have said I want to see more male singers doing pop, R&B, alternative music, to be able to really be versatile, push the barriers of music, and The Weeknd has done that for years. And I think that I never really thought that he was overhyped. I don't think he's overhyped in my honest opinion. He just has more like that real natural. He got that flavor to him. You know, he has something like it's very authentic. It's original, but his sound and how he always, you know, try different things and experiment with his music, and he always makes sure that whatever direction of the sound he's going for, it's going to be legit. It's going to be The Weeknd. So he's pretty much like 10 steps ahead, and I think that with this album, he was just able to really take us on a ride. So that's what I love about After Hours. It's a combination of mixed emotion, feelings, vulnerability, but it's an album that it does stand the test of time, and I think he really hit it out the ballpark with this one. So The Weeknd, he put out a great body of work. Alright, now we're going to get into Victoria Monet. She put out her album Jaguar. Victoria Monet, I'm very glad that she is finally getting her flowers and getting her respect due. She's a singer, she's a songwriter, and a record producer, and she has always made good music. This album right here is pretty much one of my favorites because she's another artist. Like, she has like that enigma, that mysterious, that mystiqueness, but it's very authentic, and she gives more of that R&B, soul, pop, nostalgia to it. I love that the album really showcases more of that versatility from Victoria Monet, and she has a really good ear of music, and I like that her sound is more, I would say, it just has more like that eclectic, eccentric, and she does tap into like different layers and different sides of herself, which is great. We got some like up-tempo records, some sensual records, some mid-tempo records, and I just love how Victoria Monet, she's coming to her own as an artist. And I noticed that even for her, for a couple of years, she's been under the radar, but I always have said, well, you know what, when she puts out her music, it's always good, and that's what she did with this album Jaguar. It's pretty much tapping into like your inner, I would say, badass, the inner beast, and just being free spirited. And I love how she really taps into like that free spirit side of her as an artist. Very, very enchanting, very mystical, and even with that sound, she's able to really create something that has been done before. So I wish Victoria Monet, like I said, I want to hear more music from her in the future, and she definitely, like I said, she's pretty much one of a kind too. So great job, Miss Victoria Monet. Alright, so let's get into Miss Toni Braxton. Now, Toni Braxton. I grew up with Miss Toni Braxton. Everybody know who is Miss Toni Braxton, so she does not need to have an introduction. Spell my name. Now, Toni Braxton and her music catalog and her artistry and her legacy, when it comes to Toni Braxton, undeniable talent. There will never be another Toni Braxton. And she's another artist that, along with her peers, she really has made a huge impact in music. And I love Spell My Name so much because she's one of these artists, she knows how to like move in with the times in music. Spell My Name is like a fun R&B, soul, hip-hop, pop record. And even though people of this generation, they may not, I don't want to say they do know who she is, but I'm glad that she has also stayed true to herself, where it's saying, because I know when it comes to artists that from the previous generation, you know, still making music and good music at that, you know how it gets to this, like, well, you know, they get to a certain age, how are they going to be able to market to the new generation? Now, my thing is this: if you're a musician, I know, like I said, she has been reached her peak as an artist. She has really pushed barriers in music, but with her sound, Toni Braxton's another one. She keeps pushing through. She keeps rolling with the punches. And I like that with Spell My Name, that she definitely made sure that this album was just going to be a Toni Braxton album. And I meant that in a good way, because it's rare that artists that definitely knows how to, like, you know, reinvent themselves. And with her, she definitely reinvented herself with this album. Great body of work. Um, it just has more of like that innovation and more of that retro aspect with her sound. And I love that she tapped in and experimented with different sounds, different variety of records. It's a really good cohesive album from start to finish. She did a damn thing on this one. So Toni Braxton, that's why you'll always be legendary. Period. Alright, so let's get into Logic. He released his I know how many albums he released. I think this is his 6th album. So this is his 6th studio album. It's called GP4. I'm a huge Logic fan. I've been a huge Logic fan since day one. Logic is one of these underrated rappers. And like I said, he's very talented. He's one of the best. What I love about this album, and I still can't stop playing it non-stop, because when I was listening to the album, Logic has definitely saved hip-hop along with the rest of his peers, and this is why. I think he has saved hip-hop. You know, when it comes to hip-hop and stuff, I know people, they got their opinions. So do I, because I'm a huge hip-hop fan. So I know how the game goes, but I really think that Logic is pretty much one of these like hip-hop rappers where it's like his sound, his vibe, he really has studied the greats that came before him. And I just love how this album has a lot of like that old school feel of hip-hop vibes, but it's more of like the new school. It's kind of like what Logic, he has the best of both worlds with his sound. And what I love about GP4, it just takes me like on like a real hip-hop, that computerized Afro, like that future Afro-futuristic, and just more like that, you know, clean cut. Well, I wouldn't just say clean cut, but it has like that really like badass, that really grittiness. And Logic is one of these rappers that he really put in the work to find his lane and his sound, and how he, you know, was able to really connect with his fans. That's something that I really will always cherish as a Logic fan, and I really do commend this man for really bringing back the hip-hop vibe of sound and R&B music. So his flow, his delivery, and, you know, his vulnerability too. And I know, like I said, you know, some people, his critics, have always tried to write him off, but really, with his music and the rest of his peers that actually love the art of hip-hop, they're 9 times, 10 times way better than what I'm hearing on the radio. So let that sink in. But he really, with this GP4, I just love that it just brings so much of that fun and that catchiness, but at the same time, I love that his, you know, perspective and retrospective of like his life. And he's another artist that he taps into, like, you know, he has an open diary, you know, from his experiences. So I feel like GP4 is pretty much one of his best albums in his music catalog, and I like that, you know, he really made sure that he was going to like really you know, go in for the kill in a good way. So he really did a great job. I feel like hip hop will always be relevant, and I should make videos about hip hop, because I'm sick and tired. Same thing with R&B, how people say, oh well, R&B is dead, hip hop is dead. No, they're not dead. You have artists that actually put in the work and reviving the sound and make some good music and good content, and not afraid to experiment with their sound, and actually can rap and write their music and write their lyrics. So yeah, so Logic, hands down, he put out a really great body of work. I'm a Logic fan forever. So Logic, you slayed. Alright, so here's just another pop artist. Her name is Rina Sawayama. So this is her self-titled debut studio album. It's called Oh my god, girl, I'm gonna butcher this girl's name up. I'm sorry. Sawayama. So this album, innovative. I love it. I mean, the pop vibes, everything about pop, rock, R&B, you name it. She is pretty much badass. She stands out. I love everything about her artistry. And this album is more like that fun pop dance album. And I just love how she has her own thing going on, her flavor. She definitely is like killing it right now in music, and I think that I can tell she'll be able to have longevity years to come. But I like that with her, she really is pretty much setting herself apart from her peers in the pop music world. I think she's Korean. I think she's a K-pop artist. So her music is really good, but her sound is more like that nostalgia of the early 2000s sound, pop, R&B music, and alternative and rock sound. But it's more modern and it's more up to date. But like I said, she did a damn thing, and I really love her sound, her music. I think she stands out too. So shout out to Miss Rina Sawayama. She did a great job with this work of art. And then we have Miss Kalani. Miss Kalani released her sophomore album. It was good until it wasn't. I think that Kalani, and like I said, I keep saying like how people have said, oh well, R&B is dead, but Kalani been putting in that work, and I have to give credit where it's due. Kalani is one of these talented R&B artists of her generation where she brings like that nostalgia and that excitement thrill of R&B and hip hop music. The sophomore album is really mature. She really took things to another level. Production wise, I think she did a great job making sure that her sound stick and it's stuck like grits in a good way. And also I like that, you know, she definitely made sure that she was able to really stay true to her sound. And you know, I love that Kalani, she's another artist, she's like an open book too, you know, and I like that, you know, she definitely is pretty much a dope songwriter too. I know she writes her songs, but she can sing, you know, and I love that Kalani, like I said, she has made a lot of progression in her music. I love how she has made sure that she was able to, you know, really roll with the punches. And also, you know, her sound has always been experimental, alternative R&B and hip-hop music, but it works well in her artistry. And like I said, she really definitely stepped her A game up with her sophomore album, and I think that she really did it. I think that she was able to like really come into her own with this new album. But Kalani, you did a damn thing, and yeah. So I think that will be that. So guys, that's all I have to say. I feel like 2020 has been interesting. I always say this. I try to be fair and really pick out the best albums that stand out to me. If you guys have any albums that you guys think that really stood out this year in music, artists out underrated, please let me know down below. Don't be afraid to have an open discussion. But overall, I think 2020 this year music has been okay, but I know that, as I always have said, you know, I just want next year to be even better. I know everything has been happening with this COVID and everything, but like I said, we are pushing through on this channel. Thank you guys for supporting your girl. I really appreciate it. So please guys, share your thoughts and your opinions. Stay tuned for next episode of Since 92. Like, share, comment, subscribe down below. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button, and as always, stay tuned for next episode of Since 92. Dragon Ball Z narrated reference. Peace. Bye-bye, goes as an out. This Super Saiyan is out.